there, welcome to the latest episode of the Sexy Thyroid Solution. I'm your host, Angela Brown. So today I want to talk all about natural desiccated thyroid, but if you could do me a really big favor, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video each week. Let's go ahead and talk about this. It's called NDT. So if you are struggling with hypothyroidism, sometimes even Hashimoto's, a lot of times you will be prescribed thyroid medication, and one of the types is called NDT, which is natural desiccated thyroid. So I thought I would give you a little bit more information about this because this is something I do get asked quite often about, what the difference is between like the typical thyroid medication and something called NDT. So NDT basically is made from porcine or pig, it's the same name, thyroid gland. Some people actually do have a sensitivity to pork or pigs, so they cannot have this type of medication. It's not as common to happen, but it does happen. I have worked with people who have had that issue, so always keep that in mind. But NDT basically contains all the thyroid hormones. So it's T1, T2, T3, and T4. Now, the most common ones that you hear about all the time are T3 and T4 because that's what they can actually check on a thyroid blood test. But with NDT, you're going to get all of that when you have the typical thyroid medication that's more synthetic. And synthetic, what I mean by that is it's a man-made one that it can have fillers and all kinds of things in it. It may not have quite as pure thyroid hormone in it. It's not being pulled from like pig gland. So when you have something like NDT, it's believed to be more natural. So that's why it's more superior over something like synthetic, because it is more natural, it's more pure, and they do use less fillers. Now, some of them may have a few fillers in them, but you're more than likely not going to have quite as few fillers. Gluten is a very, very common one that I see in synthetic thyroid medication, which is a total bummer because most people with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's need to stay away from gluten. So keep that in mind as well. With NDT, you will have, like I mentioned, T1, 2, 3, and 4. So T1 is produced like by the breakdown of metabolites of T3, T4. So that's something that is a bonus to have that inside your thyroid medication. And then T2 it can actually help with the conversion of T4 to T3, and you don't make very much T3, and that's your active thyroid hormone, so you need a lot for conversion. So T2 can actually help with that. And then T3 obviously is your active thyroid hormone, and T4 is the inactive. And like I mentioned, you have to convert T4 to T3 because you only make like 20% T3. So the benefit of having a thyroid medication that has the T3 in it is if you have a thyroid hormone conversion issue, which a lot of people do. Most people do have that difficult time getting T4 converted to T3. So having the medication with T3 in it is very, very helpful. And that's one of the reasons why I do like something like NDT. Also, when you think about this type of medication, like I mentioned about the fillers, there is way less fillers. Now, things like Armour, NP thyroid, those medications they do have T3, T4. They are considered NDT. However, some of them might have fillers in them that still bother you. So always keep that in mind. For me personally, I have my medication compounded, and compounded means I go to a compounding pharmacy here where I live, and they basically make it for me. They make it with all four, T1, T2, 3, and 4 of those hormones in it. I do quite well with that. I did find like with Armour NP, but I was kind of in between like how much T3 and how much T4 I needed, and they weren't jiving with the exact doses that would come with like Armour NP. So we just went to me having it compounded and having it made. Some doctors are a little hesitant for prescribing NDT because they claim that it's more difficult to properly dose, because they say that NDT doesn't have it's not standardized or regulated, which actually is not necessarily true. NDT medications are still standardized because like 1 grain, so you'll hear about this like a lot with NDT, like you'll be prescribed like by grains. 1 grain typically contains about 38 mcg of T4 and 9 mcg of T3, which is your active thyroid hormone. So they still are typically standardized, and that's like for me, the dosage that I have, it is standardized to that. So If you have more questions with that, definitely let me know, reach out. It's definitely worth a conversation with your doctor. I do recommend, if you are struggling with your thyroid, it's worth a conversation to investigate, like, can I do something like NDT? Can I have medication that has T3 in it? Especially if your T3 is consistently low in a blood test. Get that checked, get that looked at as to if there is a conversion issue. First of all, figure out why, but second of all, you might need to have some T3 on board. So if you have questions with that, again, reach out, let me know. I'm happy to chat more with you about that. I hope this video helped you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.